grew up in Northern California, outside of San Francisco, which is one of the most expensive places in the world to live in.
In pesos, how much is it?
I can tell you in US dollars, it would be around 800 US dollars. So that's over 40,000, between 40 and 50,000 pesos.
Oh my God.
But the housing market, I'm also a freelance business consultant, so I can talk about economics in general. But the housing market is just out of control. Rent is too expensive in the U.S. Food is too expensive in the U.S. Mortgages are too expensive in the U.S. Even before COVID, homelessness was increasing. 1 million US dollars will buy you a fixer-upper in the city of San Francisco. And this was before COVID. I think I told you this before the interview began. The US stock market crashed today. It had its biggest loss in 2 years. We are experiencing a, whatever you want to call it, recession, slowdown, depression. Things have really been bad in the United States, have been slowly on the decline economically since at least 1980.
I think that's why you're still here in Davao, because the peso is devalued.
Well, I mean, that's one.
You can save more.
Say.
At the same time, you can still drink whiskey and stay here.
That's right. I can come here. I can treat my friend Gigi to French fries and to cappuccino.
Compared to staying in Europe, right?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. The favorite part of renting. Yeah, I don't know if you already answered it.
The low cost.
The low cost.
The
okay,
low cost.
That's it only.
Well, and what I like about my studio is that they clean and do my laundry for me, and I'm close to everything. I'm closer. You know, I'd have to take the Jeep everywhere from Magallanes residence. Here at Doña V Studios, I can just walk. I can walk here to where we are now.
Okay, this one. How about the part you find inconvenient in renting?
Inconvenient?
Yeah.
Renting is not inconvenient so much as other things are inconvenient. This is the Philippines. The power doesn't always work. The internet doesn't always work. The water doesn't always work. I had this landlady. Actually, she owned my condo, but her mother owned another condo. Or the mother was my landlady and the daughter owned the other condo. But sadly, I had an unhappy experience with the daughter. So sometimes, you know, you might come across an owner who is not very polite. And also here in the Philippines, there is, or at least I found at Magallanes residence, there is not very much a sense of tenants' rights or renters' rights.
Renters' rights.
For example, when the earthquake happened, they had a meeting with the building owners or the company that signed the owners, and the owners were demanding 200%. Because when the earthquake hit, I think it was in 2020 when the earthquake hit.
Yeah.
Was it 2019?
No.
November?
I'm pregnant at that time, yeah.
Oh, okay, so you would know. Okay, so it was like October, November 2020.
Yeah.
And it was just a disaster at Magallanes residence. Children were breathing in fumes from the dust that resulted from the cracks of the building. Some of them had to be evacuated for some time. I think all of them at different points, each of them had to be vacated, and then the city inspector had to come in, make sure everything was okay. And the owners were demanding that the building designers and the original owners who sold them the condos would buy back the condos at 200%. And I was trying to talk about the renters. What do we do? And the attitude I got, well, from one person only, so this is just anecdotal, is, oh no, this is something you need to work that out with your landlord. So it felt like, okay, we as renters don't have any rights. So the problems are, the short answer is, you might have a personality conflict with your landlord, or landlady, you might come across the infrastructure of the Philippines, you know, the internet not working sometimes, the power not working sometimes, the water not working sometimes, and the lack of sense of renters' rights. For example, I tell at Doña V Studios too, I often, building manager is a very nice lady. Shout out to Mam Lisa. Mam Lisa Wapa. She's very nice, but I keep telling her, look, Mam Lisa, this day the water was dirty. This day the internet wasn't working. These things keep happening. Can I please have a discount on my rent?
Oh, you're asking for discount.
Right. So those are the things, small, I guess,
Did
downsides.
they grant the discount or?
Oh no, they'll never.
They will.
They'll never give me cheaper rent. The owners of my building, who are South Korean, offered me a ridiculous deal. They told me if you pay 1 year in advance, we'll take off like 1,000 a month. And I was like, that is so ridiculous. That is
Okay.
that is absolute nonsense. 16,000 times 12, and you're only going to take off 12,000 of that. That is just total nonsense.
Okay.
That's not a discount.
That's the reason why you get out there, or because of the
Well, I'm still there.
you're still there.
I'm still there.
Okay. All right. Are there any problems that you encountered aside from that when renting? What about there in Doña Vicente?
No, Doña V Studios 2 and Magallanes, really, those are really the only problems I've had. And in fairness, my first landlord of the really small studio condo that I had, he was a really nice guy. You know, he told us well in advance.
Pinoy?
Yes. And he told us well in advance that we needed to move out. He was a really nice guy,
Okay.
I gotta say.
How frequently do you encounter those problems? At that time, there was earthquakes, so I guess there are like on and off of Wi-Fi and electricity.
In my 4
power?
years here in the Philippines, I would say that I frequently encounter,
Wi-Fi
earthquake or not, I frequently encounter Wi-Fi problems, power
Okay.
problems, and water problems.
Power problem, like just blackout suddenly, like that, scheduled brownout, or I'm not so sure here in downtown because.
Well, those are really not faults of the Magallanes residents, Doña V Studios,
Like the Davao
or
City.
the buildings,
Yeah.
right, or their building managers. That's a problem nationwide here in the Philippines.
Oh my God.
Is that the Philippines, we have to remember, is a third world country or a developing country or a poor country or whatever the phraseology or terminology you want to use. That's what the Philippines is. So it has a long way to go. For example, Taiwan, where I also lived for over 4 years, is not considered a first world country, if
Yeah.
that's the correct term or phrase. But compared to the Philippines, I would say it is. Because that's it's Taiwan is so different, it's almost an unfair comparison. You know,
Yeah.
there's almost no crime anywhere in Taiwan. The internet always works, the power always works, the water always works. The Taipei Metro is one of the best in the world. The trains arrive every 5 minutes or even more often. So you don't have to plan a trip in Taipei. You just go to the metro, wait for the train will come.
Also, that's why you prefer to work here than in your studio because they have faster Wi-Fi here than in studio.
I just like to go out, and here I can
Okay.
and here I can order whiskey, and I don't keep a bottle of whiskey in my.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, maybe I should.
Yeah.
Oh, another
Or
problem.
maybe you meet a lot of people. Yeah.
That too. Occasionally I meet people. Roaches. Is
Oh
another
yeah,
problem.
that's what I wanted to ask in the studio.
Yes, in Doña V Studios and in Magallanes, everywhere in the
Everywhere in the
Philippines.
Philippines?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're gonna see mosquitoes and roaches,
And lizard.
geckos. Yeah, but
Geckos.
yeah.
I don't know what's the difference between gecko and the lizard.
A gecko is a kind of lizard.
Oh,
The,
okay.
the most common little ones with the fingers and the tip of the
Yeah.
fingers is round,
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
suction
that's a
cup.
gecko.
Yeah, they're geckos, but they
Ew.
leave you alone. They don't bite you, right?
Yeah, but I don't like how they look like. I think like if they go to your skin,
Are
they
you
will
sure
not-
you're Filipino?
Why? Yeah.
Because you don't like geckos. I'm just kidding.
I don't like. Okay, okay. You can tell me later on what that means. So, what solutions do you provide?
Oh, well, you see, that's a much bigger question because
Yeah.
what I said was the problem is nationwide.
Yeah.
The
Sorry.
solutions would also be nationwide.
Okay.
I politically am Scandinavian. What I mean by that is the Scandinavian countries have figured it out.
Okay.
What have they figured out? They have figured out that everybody needs to pay high taxes.
You wanted that?
Yes. Because when everybody pays high taxes, the government has a lot of money. The government can pay for better water infrastructure, better power infrastructure, better internet infrastructure, can pay for everyone to be educated, can pay for everyone to have health care. So they figured it out.
That's what
They do in
Canada and
Scandinavia. Australia,
also
Canada, and Europe and
Europe.
Japan and Taiwan
And
do
Saudi.
similar.
Yeah.
Dubai do similar things. I think the Scandinavian model is the best model. But there are many ways. For example, the healthcare system. In England, they have the NHS, the National Healthcare Service, which is completely free at point of purchase. Now, you pay for it in your taxes, but when you go to the hospital and go to the emergency room or get the medical care, you don't pay anything. That system is different from the French system, which is a combination of private insurance and government-funded healthcare, which is similar but different to the Swedish system, which is also part government, part private. There are many ways, healthcare is just one example, to give everyone healthcare. So there are many specific ways to handle healthcare and other infrastructure and public-related issues.
So you can't solve the problem of the apartment studio because it's a national problem.
It really is a national systemic problem. But in a country so geographically divided like
Philippines.
the Philippines,
Yeah.
because it's an archipelago, the LGUs could probably take it upon themselves
Yeah.
to do things. With all the federal money they get, they can do their own thing and
That's
help
what's
their own
happening,
residents.
Yeah. I agree. Oh, I'm gonna talk to you something about that later on. Okay. Have you encountered a problem and can't come up with a solution?
A problem in the Philippines
In terms
like,
of renting, yeah.
in terms of renting, when there's
I think those problems that you encounter, you can find a solution. You just go somewhere else. Like, for example, the Wi-Fi is not working. So, okay, I'll go to Seda, like that. It's not a solution there, but for yourself.
right.
Yeah.